that's what they want to do. So without
welcome to our 13th birthday party here. Let's see, is Rona Chambers here? We have your driver's license. Does anybody know Rona Chambers?
Over there.
Okay.
Were we supposed to show them to get drinks?
Just for the caffeinating.
Anyway, we do thank you for coming out tonight. We do have a number of announcements to make, which I'll make through the evening. The lineup, each performer will be doing about a 25 to 30 minute set or so. We'll be starting with Curtis and Loretta. Tim Keller will be up next, followed by Lou Mitchell, Paul Sanchez, who is a new Texas resident as of today, moving from California. And we'll close the evening with Emilie Aronson. Does that sound good? Yeah. Wanna say hi? This is Curtis and Loretta. They're based in Minnesota. They're down here kind of on their Texas tour. Curtis is a native Duncanville resident. I guess it's changed quite a bit since he's been there, and they will play this wonderful harp here as well. Please welcome Curtis and Loretta.
Thank you, Ed. It's true, Curtis actually grew up in Texas, and we live in Minnesota now. I'm actually a native of Minnesota, and people often ask him, what are you doing up there in that cold country? And he points at me. She dragged me up there.
It's a good way to keep it warm.
If you have someone to stay close to.
Right, let's talk about you.
Exactly.
Yes, indeed, that's true. We've been traveling across the country here. It's a pleasure to get back down to the place where I was born and play a few tunes for you. Went through Nebraska and Colorado, and we finally got back to God's country. Yep. 75 north out here. Man, they're working on that sucker. They've always been working on that. Anyway, we're going to start out with we're going to kind of do a cross-section of the stuff we do. We do a lot of different kinds of music. We've been accused of doing 60s music, and I really can't understand why. People just look at us and they go, you do 60s music, don't you? And we do 15s, 60s, 16s, 60s, 18s,
Couple
60s.
18s. Right on up to the present.
So we're going to start off with a Celtic tune here. This is one of our favorite love songs. This is called The Star of the County Down. You've probably heard this. It's a lovely tune.
She's a gem of old Ireland's crown. That's
not right for a smile from the nut brown rose. No pipe has one little horse I don't let how we rust and ground. But to smile and bright I'll be on while I kiss a star with the county down. From Bantry Bay down the Derry Quay, from Galway to Dublin town. No maid I've seen like the sweet Colleen, she's the star of the county down. From Bantry Bay down the Derry Quay, from Galway to Dublin town. No maid I've seen like the sweet Colleen, she's the star of the county down.
Thanks a lot.
Well, since this is a Celtic harp that Loretta's playing here, we'll do another Celtic tune for you here. This is called Morrison's Jig.
This is one of those, probably from about, what, 14 or 50 and 60, something like that. Traditional Irish songs. We're going to get Curtis to grab a different instrument, and we're going to switch gears a little bit and do something that's not quite as old.
This one's less than 100 years old.
That's because I wrote it.
I didn't say how much it was.
Kind of reminds me of, on our tour, we played in Denver at Swallow Hill, and then we went way out to western Colorado, and did you ever drive through that pass between Gray and Silverton?
Yes.
Thousands,
It's a
isn't it
beautiful
beautiful?
pass.
It's beautiful, but it's
You like looking down.
thousands of miles, or feet, thousands of miles. It felt like thousands of miles down.
Yeah.
And there's no guardrails on the road. And Curtis was driving, and I just kept saying, please, please slow down, please slow down. We were already going like, 10 miles an hour. I felt like I was 100 years old. Boy. Anyway. He liked it. He liked to scare me. Well, we're going to do a song that I wrote. This is called Elsa and Bronco, or The Siege of Sarajevo. And it's a song I was inspired to write after reading one of those articles in the newspaper about Sarajevo and the terrible times they're having over there. Actually, it was a couple winters ago, and it was about this elderly couple called Elsa and Bronco. They were living on about the 10th floor of a high-rise, and their electricity had been cut off. All they had for heat was a teeny little stove, and they were sawing up their furniture for fuel, and they had to haul their water 2 miles. And I just started to think, boy, I got nothing to complain about. Driving on these mountain passes is nothing compared to what they have to go through, not to mention the fact of possibly being shot down if you go out the door. So I wrote them this song, Elsa and Bronco. Elsa tore a page from Bronco sawed up furniture, a shell hit close outside. He handed her a piece of chair, no hope left in his eyes. Once he sang the old songs to his lovely wife. Now he sang just one song to get them through their life. Wars will always rage, hate and fear will kill. Hardships grind us down, nearly break our will. They take all that we have, our homes, our bodies too. But there's one thing they can't take, my love for you. Set our house of water, for we'll run out today. I know a place not too far, just 2 miles away. She's trying to hide her worry, she's trying to hide her fear. Each moment she spent with him was a measure of a year. She fetched the plastic buckets, he buttoned up his coat. She said, "You need another scarf, let me cover up your throat." Bronco, please be careful, my prayers will go with you. Else I will hurry home, our song will see us through. Wars will always rage, hate and fear will kill. Hardships grind us down, nearly break our will. They can take all that we have, our homes, our bodies too. But there's one thing they can't take, my love for you. She watched him through the window that was not boarded up. In the street far below, the old man moved so slow. Once they had a nephew to make this trip for them. A sniper's bullet stopped him like so many of their friends. Minutes turned hours, gone of him alone. Every mortal blast she heard, she whispered, "Please come home." She shivered in the darkness, now no candles left alight. She sent him every ounce of strength, saying, "Sing with me this night." Wars will always rage, hate and fear will kill. Hardships grind us down, nearly break our will. They can take all that we have, our homes, our bodies too. But there's one thing they can't take, my love for you. Been gone far too long now, fear ripped out her soul. Was he hiding out someplace? Was he wounded? Was he cold? She wished she made him take the last piece of bread with him. Oh God, she prayed, let me feed him once again. She jumped up from her chair then, as if she'd heard a ghost. She knew she had to look for him, no matter what the cost. She flung open the door, and there her lover stood. Oh, Bronco, I could hear you singing like we always should. of course, a Celtic harp, as Curtis said, and he's going to introduce his next instrument to you.
Is this Fred? I'm just joking, actually. So I haven't really named this one yet. No. Actually, the first one I was playing is a mandolin. You probably have seen a few people playing those before, but this one is a mandocello. A mandolin is tuned like a violin, and this is tuned like a cello. Around the turn of the century, they had mandolin orchestras, and this is a nice low-pitched mandolin. Sometimes I don't even tell people what this is, to tell you the truth, because, they'll look up the stage. I had this feeling, they'll look up the stage and they'll go, look at that little bitty guy playing mandolin.
Were we all thinking that? A couple of them were thinking that.
This is a Texas-sized mandolin. Yeah.
See, his true colors come on. I'm even saying y'all now that we're down here. We've been here a week, and I'm saying y'all all the time. Sir and ma'am all the time. Right?
Yeah.
Now with that, we're going to do a traditional Irish song.
This is the Celtic March called Brian Boru's March. I've been running back and forth all over the stage grabbing instruments, and this is her time. Your time to pay your dues. You have
Yeah, now I get this
to
one.
carry that glorified cheese slicer
Is it okay to unplug this?
off stage here. I think of it as a fishing line display. It's basically what it is. It's a bunch of nylon string, which makes all the cats happy nowadays.
Yeah.
All strung onto a couple of boards there. But it's a lovely instrument. I was born actually in Oak Cliff in a Methodist hospital. My parents, being Church of Christers, I always thought that was kind of funny when I was a kid. But I learned to accept it. But when I was growing up in Duncanville, truly, there was no restaurant in Duncanville. Can you imagine that? There was a feed store and there was a Dairy Queen. And there was a Mott's. And boy, it's hard to believe in that. My turn.
I thought he was going to say all there was a feed store and they'd go down there on Saturday.
Grab a bag.
Fair fill. I couldn't help it. I know, I got to be careful now that we're in Texas. You all probably live here, right?
I've been telling you. Anybody from Texas here? We all drove 5,000 miles. I've been telling Loretta that, actually a bunch of people up in Minnesota there, that we kind of got, well, they took advantage of us. We were a country here in Texas, you know, and we signed this thing with the agreement that we would make the border the Red River. They gave us that one in Oklahoma.
See, we got a Red River up along Minnesota there?
It's the border of what?
Between Minnesota and North Dakota. He thinks they should have taken that for the border.
That's
And you
what-
could have had the whole middle of the country. So.
Yeah, they took advantage of us there. Excuse us, this is a love song. Very personal. Moms.
All right, well, Curtis is going to sing us one that he wrote.
This is definitely the mushiest song I ever wrote, I have to admit. This is just mushy, mushy, mushy. Well, anyway. Now, I used to introduce this song. I would look at the audience and I would say, now I want you to guess who I wrote this song for. Now I would look at the right eye and go, like that. And then we'd sing the song, and I'd say, I bet you guessed who I wrote that for. I wrote that for my first dog, Happy. Okay, and I would get a little laugh. And this is the reason I don't introduce this song in this way anymore, is because people see you like a year or so later and say, do that song you wrote for your dog.
Yeah, well, seriously, people have asked us this.
That's true.
So now, I'm kind of starting to wonder
So I don't introduce it that way anymore.
who he wrote it for. So I never met this little dog, Happy. He was before my time.
I'd find out. This is called an endless love song. I'd have to write you some endless love song, something that'll go like the wind is gonna blow, something that can feel like the sun when it rises, something filling up like a river will grow. And then I know there's just not a word or lines to rhyme like a heart and a mind, so I can only say that I'm one of the few that has known love as I have known you. I'd have to write you some endless love letter, endless PS's and X's I don't end, but knowing below can seal in the feeling. No such words can be written with a hand. And then I know there's just not a word or lines to rhyme like a heart and a mind, so I can only say that I'm one of the few that has known love as I have known you. I'd have to write you some endless love now, encyclopedia dictionaries, to find one way to say how I love you. It cannot be explained in all the libraries. And then I know there's just not a word or lines to rhyme like a heart and a mind, so I can only say that I'm one of the few that has known love as I have
the truth now, Curtis.
Yes.
Well, we're going to do one more here. We sure thank you all for listening tonight. Coming to this 13th year anniversary. That's a lucky 13, huh? For Uncle Calvin. Is there an Uncle Calvin? Is there a person named Uncle Calvin? There's a real uncle? We'll have to get the whole story later. Well, we sure thank Ed for having us down there and all the staff. Boy, there's a lot of people running around doing stuff here, getting ready. A lot of people working and volunteering and everything. It's great. And we just wanted to mention there's one volunteer out there selling our tapes and CDs, so go see that person if you want and take a look at those. And also we have a schedule where we're going to be playing. We won't be in Texas for a while, but we try to get down here about once a year, so if you'd like to sign our mailing list, we sure would love to have you sign up there, and we'll send you some direct mail about when we'll be back. That's a nice word for junk mail these days. Direct mail. We try to get down here at least once a year. And we're going to end up our set with the title cut off our CD, our newest CD out there, called It's Where You Hang Your Hat.
Yes, indeed.
It's a song about Curtis and his, well, not really. It's kind of inspired by him. You notice he's got a hat on. He always wears a hat.
And I'm not really bald. I just like hats.
He just likes hats. We'll get him to take it off later. Maybe.
Oh.
Just having. All right.
I like this. This is a nice homey song.
Thanks a lot, everybody, for being here. We'll end up with It's Where You Hang Your Hat. It doesn't close at 5 p.m. There's no dress code there. You can enter anytime. Wear underwear. No one left to fold again. They won't hide over the chair. Queenie got everything where you find it there. Home sweet home, my honeycomb is where you hang your hat. Yeah, home is where the heart is. Yeah, home is where it's at. You may be home in a trailer park, or home on the range, in a mansion cabin or an igloo, a bungalow or a frame. Go to your palace or your grass shack, lay your burden down, scream aloud, take a bubble bath, sleep, dance around. Home sweet home, my honeycomb is where you hang your hat. Yeah, home is where the heart is. Yeah, home is where it's at. Country roads may take you there, a city sidewalks too. Baseball players dream of it and certain pigeons do. Everybody longs for it and bye-bye to see. You can feel it anywhere in your loved one's company. Home sweet home, my honeycomb is where you hang your hat. Yeah, home is where the heart is. Yeah, home is where it's at. Home sweet home, my honeycomb is where you hang